Learn English to fluency.
Hello, and welcome to this English shadowing practice story. If you want to improve your speaking, listening, and pronunciation while enjoying a real personal story, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to practice using the shadowing technique. That means you listen to what I say, then repeat it exactly. Copy my pronunciation, my speed, and my emotion. You can pause the video anytime and go back to hear a sentence again. The more you repeat, the more fluent you will become. In this lesson, you will meet Sarah. She's going to share the story of her very first job interview, how she prepared, what she felt, what happened during the interview, and the lessons she learned from it. It's an honest and nerve-wracking journey told in clear and simple English so you can follow along easily. So, listen closely to Sarah's voice, repeat her sentences after her, and imagine you are telling the story yourself. Let's begin.
My name is Sarah. I'm 25 years old. I still remember the morning of my first job interview as if it happened yesterday. It was one of the most nerve-wracking yet important days of my life. The night before, I barely slept. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the possible questions they could ask me. I imagined myself walking into the office, sitting in front of serious-looking people, and trying to convince them I was good enough for the job. I kept checking my alarm clock to make sure I would not oversleep. I ironed my clothes 3 times because I wanted to look perfect. I practiced my introduction in front of the mirror, trying to smile without looking nervous. Hello, my name is Sarah. Thank you for this opportunity. I must have said that line 100 times. Each time I adjusted my tone, my posture, and even the way I held my hands. I wanted to be confident, but the truth was I was terrified. When the alarm finally rang in the morning, my stomach was in knots. I could not eat breakfast. My hands shook as I poured a glass of water. I reminded myself to breathe slowly, to stay calm. But the anxiety would not go away. I picked up my bag and left the house earlier than planned because I was scared of being late. The bus ride downtown felt longer than usual. The city seemed busier than ever that morning. People were walking fast, cars were honking, and I felt like the world was rushing past me. I stared out the window, thinking about my life, about how much this job meant to me. It was my first chance to earn my own money, to be independent, and to finally start building a future. When the bus stopped near the company's building, I got off and stood outside for a moment. The building was tall and shiny, with glass windows that reflected the morning sun. The logo was huge and intimidating. I whispered to myself, "You can do this, Sarah. Just breathe, one step at a time." I walked up to the front desk inside the building and said quietly, "Good morning. I'm here for a job interview." The receptionist smiled warmly. "Please take the elevator to the 8th floor. They are expecting you." I nodded and thanked her. My legs felt weak as I stepped into the elevator. When the doors opened on the 8th floor, I found myself in a waiting room. There were 4 other candidates already there. They all looked so confident and professional. One of them was reading notes with complete focus. Another was talking casually to the receptionist, as if he had done this 100 times before. I sat down and opened my folder, pretending to review my resume. But the truth was, I could not focus on the words. My heart was beating too fast. My inner voice kept whispering, "What if they don't like you? What if you forget what to say? What if you make a mistake and embarrass yourself?" I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Then I remembered something my father once told me. An interview is not just about them choosing you. It's also about you choosing them. Be yourself. That's enough. When I opened my eyes, I felt a little calmer. I decided that no matter what happened, I would give my best. A few minutes later, a woman from the HR department appeared at the door and called my name. "Sarah?" I stood up quickly, almost tripping over my bag. "Good morning," I said, forcing a smile. She smiled back and led me into a bright conference room. There were 3 people sitting at a long table. My hands felt sweaty, but I tried to look confident. "Please, have a seat," someone said. As I sat down, I reminded myself to breathe slowly. One of the interviewers smiled at me and said, "So, Sarah, tell us about yourself." I had practiced this answer many times, but now my voice felt shaky. I started slowly. "My name is Sarah. I recently graduated with a degree in business administration. I am passionate about learning, and I am excited about the possibility of joining your company." The interviewers nodded, so I continued. They asked me question after question. "Why do you want this job? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses?" Some questions were easy, and I answered confidently. Others were harder, and I had to pause and think. At one point, they asked me to describe a time when I solved a problem. I told them about a group project at university where we had missed a deadline. I explained how I took responsibility, reorganized the tasks, and worked late to help the team finish. One of the interviewers smiled and wrote something down. That small gesture gave me confidence. Then came the question I dreaded. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? My mind went blank. I panicked. I gave a vague answer at first, but then I caught myself and decided to be honest. "Actually," I said, "I want to grow in a company where I can learn new skills and take on more responsibility. I want to contribute to something bigger than myself." They smiled. I could see in their faces that my honesty mattered more than a perfect answer. The interview lasted about 30 minutes, but it felt like hours. Finally, one of them said, "Thank you for coming in, Sarah. We will be in touch." I stood up, shook their hands, and walked out. My legs felt like jelly, but I was proud that I had shown up and tried. When I got home, I replayed every moment in my head. I thought about the answers I could have given, the things I could have done better, but then I reminded myself of an important lesson. Nobody is perfect in an interview. What matters is that you stay calm, show your personality, and be honest. 2 days later, I received an email. I hesitated to open it because I was scared of rejection. My hands shook as I clicked on it. The first word I saw was "Congratulations." I screamed. I jumped up and down in my room. My aunt came running in. "What happened?" she asked. I showed her the email. "I got the job," I said, tears streaming down my face. We hugged for a long time. All the fear, all the practice, all the mistakes. It was worth it. That job became the first step in my career. It was not just about earning money. It was about proving to myself that I could overcome fear and succeed. Looking back now, there are so many lessons I learned from that first job interview. First, preparation is important. I practiced my answers, and that helped me stay calm when the pressure was high. Second, confidence grows when you take action. Even small steps, like smiling at the receptionist or shaking hands firmly, helped me feel stronger. Third, interviews are a two-way street. It is not only about them choosing you, it is also about you deciding if the company is a good fit for you. And finally, the most important lesson: be yourself. People can tell when you are being authentic. If you are preparing for your own first job interview, I want you to remember this. It's normal to feel nervous, but don't let the nerves stop you. Take a deep breath, walk in with your head held high, smile, and remember that the interviewers are just people. They want to get to know you, not a perfect version of you. Practice speaking clearly. Shadow this story. Repeat the sentences until you feel comfortable. It will help you build confidence, and confidence is everything. I promise you, one day you will look back and smile at how far you have come, just like I do now.
That was Sarah's story about her first job interview. She took us through every moment, from the nervous preparation to the final handshake, and shared the lessons she learned along the way. Now it's your turn to practice. Go back to the beginning and shadow her words. Repeat the sentences out loud and try to sound just like her. The more you listen and repeat, the more natural your English will become. Practice this story over several days. Soon, you'll not only feel more confident in speaking English, but you'll also know how to tell your own interview story clearly and naturally. Remember, learning English is just like preparing for an interview. The more you practice, the more confident you will be. Keep going, because every time you speak, you're improving. If you enjoyed this lesson, like the video, subscribe for more, and share it with a friend who is learning English too. I'm proud of you for showing up today. See you in the next lesson.
Learn English to fluency.